Book review time! Welcome! I'll start by prefacing that this will be a quick review on Stephen King's Salem's Lot. You have all better buckle down and subscribe because we are in for a fruitful harvest. I have never read a Stephen King book before, and the making of this very video that you are watching. Yeah, I said that. I, of course, like many others, know of Stephen King through his most prominent works that got film adaptations, which are usually horror, due to their nature. This includes works such as It, which is about a bunch of kids versus a weirdo clown, and of course, Pet Sematary, which is about a man bringing back loved ones from a magic cemetery. And last but most infamous is The Shining, about a man going crazy in a hotel. These stories are what compelled me to go get one of Stephen King's books. Also, because I was trying to bring more reading into my life, and I thought that I never read anything in the horror genre. So I chose Salem's Lot, because I heard of it before, and it sounded really interesting, but never really knew what it was about. So I decided to pick it up for that very reason. Looking back on it now, it was a good choice. Alright, time for a small overview. I am new to this, so... Oh my god, that's horrible. What is this? Are you... Oh my goodness. Who thought of this? Who? You know what? Screw it. Alright, time for a small overview. I am new to this, so I'll start by putting up categories that I will be reviewing. First, a quick summary, then a discussion of the plot and world building, the writing style, and character development. As I said before, this is Stephen King's Salem's Lot. Summary time. The story begins with an author named Ben Mears returning to his old hometown of Jerusalem Lot, also known as Salem Lot, to write his new book. Ben has been traumatized and has an obsession with the Marston house that looms over the town with a sinister feel. As Ben returns, he learns that the house has been bought by someone. Then suddenly, two boys ventured into the woods, when suddenly one disappeared and the other returned back. Ben starts to realize that something is amiss in the town. Then, the evil starts to reveal itself slowly, which Ben and his allies, Matt, Susan, Mark, and Cody, must stop before the town is engulfed in darkness. Time for some plot and world building. The plot in itself was at its best when the mystery of the evil force was revealing itself. The evil itself was a vampire, which was foreshadowed with toys and other things in other instances. The reveal of it being a vampire doesn't really matter as much as the process of how it was built up. Stephen King was able to build it up so well to the point where the thing itself could have been anything. He also portrays this other evil that one simply deems impossible very well with how each character who hears the news, basically, because every character who hears the news tries to logic it out, they can't really logic it out well, so they can't really admit it until they actually see the vampire for themselves. He is able to push the message of how we as humans are able to tolerate evil. The plot itself is a good mystery that untangles itself and has a very climactic ending. The only part that I can criticize in a negative way is that the ending felt somewhat fast. The ending was kind of open-ended with all the vampires still lurking, while Ben and Mark are going to finish them off. The final battle with the head vampire Barlow was anticlimactic with how easy he died. The thing that I found funny was how a little kid named Mark Petrie, however you pronounce that, was able to do all the things he did. Mark not only killed a grown man who was working for a vampire, he was able to get out of the ropes thanks to a Houdini book he read, and was able to keep pushing forward at the end while still being only a little kid. The world building was on another level when there are whole chapters where the whole town is being fleshed out periodically. Those chapters have some of the best parts of the books inside it and really helps with fleshing out the town. Still, the plot overall was pretty good, 9 out of 10. with little holes, this like Swiss cheese. But the world building was built so well for Cinemas Lot. 10 out of 10 on world building for making me feel like I was there. I'm not that well versed in writing styles, but Stephen King is a pretty good at portraying dark and eerie feelings and areas. His writing style feels like you're creeping into something that you shouldn't. Anytime something dark happens, he is able to put you in a sense of dread for the characters or for like the whole town in itself. For this being a horror book, his writing style is able to do what it needs to do. For that, I'll give Stephen King a pet cat out of 10 in writing style. Alright, time to do the characters. Susan, Mark, and Cody were my favorites. Salem's Lot protagonist of Ben Mears serves his role well for his perspective and the way he looks at situations and how, without him, the vampires would have undoubtedly succeeded. He's also a pretty good archetype of the literature guy. The characters as a whole are well fleshed out, but the ending for certain characters kind of frustrate me to a T. I enjoy the array of characters from a doctor to a teacher to a girl trying to make art and to a little boy, you know? But the main problem I have with some of those character endings. First off, he the only downside is those characters. Gosh, dang it, bro. Why did he have to kill so many of them off? I guess that's why they call him Stevie King. But because they are fleshed out with their goals and motivations, they're undoubtedly great characters. The only downside to some are the endings to some of their arcs, such as Dr. Cody, Susan, then you get good farewells. But overall, the characters are good when showing how everyone has their dark secrets. Character-wise, I would give Stephen King a 9 out of 10 for taking my favorite character away with Susan in such a distasteful way. And Matt, the teacher, having a heart attack out of nowhere. So, in conclusion, Salem's Lot is a slow burn of a read, but it has a way of drawing you in like the Marston house in the story. I can take my eyes away from it, so I gave it an overall score of 9.5, near to perfection. It is a horrifying read for a first timer and has certain times when it makes you question things. For my first Stephen King book, I say that he has me hooked. I suggest this to you if you want something horror or hopefully something terrifying. Hopefully I gave a decent review, but I have been Mini Dragon 21. Leave a comment on your thoughts on Stephen King. I hope this puts you on Stephen King's books or films.